Hi guys, and welcome to the Gremlin's Lair.
Hello.
I'm Fana.
And I'm Bobby.
And we still have not nailed this intro.
We never will, but that's part of the charm.
I would like to by the end of the year.
Oh, is that your new goal for the year now? Is you're just gonna okay. All right.
Yes.
I mean, I can get behind that.
Also, this is our 10 episode anniversary.
Woo!
How are we celebrating?
I don't know.
I have coffee. Do you have a drink?
I actually annoyingly forgot to get water before we started this, so I might be in some trouble in a little bit.
You'll be fine.
But it'll be okay. I mean, I could go behind me and grab the adult beverages, but I don't think we're gonna do that right now. So
this is a PG stream.
This is
or
PG
podcast,
stream.
whatever this is.
Oh yeah, total stream. Yeah, we've been live streaming the show on Twitch every other week, guys. You've just been missing it the whole time.
We could. There's this guy that I think it's his daughter. They are doing a podcast, and she's like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And she's just talking. She talked about like eating flamingos at one point, and the episodes are like 10 minutes long each, and they're very cute.
That's funny. That reminds me of when Philip DeFranco did his conversation with his like little kid, his little boy. Just had him on the microphone. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it sounded like he just kind of sounded off about whatever.
Well, and then during like the thick of quarantine, the podcasters that I like, Justin McElroy had his, she like 6 or 7-year-old, and it was called like Daddy and Charlie, and like they were like reviewing candy that viewers had sent to them, and that was very, very cute.
That's cute.
And he's like, I don't know if Daddy can take any more of this, Charlie. Like, we can't tell Mommy dinner's coming. Like,
are we already starting with the earbud falling out? By the way,
stop.
We literally just started the fight. We're gonna have to keep a counter. I'll get a baseball pitch counter.
Like, ding, ding.
Whenever that comes out.
It's because I move a lot when I talk.
I mean, you were using your wireless headphones for a bit though.
For a hot second, and then like. I really enjoy them, but for longer periods, they hurt my ears.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is.
Plus, they don't particularly love connecting to my laptop. So I have to deal with them that way.
Oh, I just realized. Okay, I did have a question for you because we never talked about it because it came out yesterday. What? Did you see Monster High is rebooting?
Yes. I don't know how I feel about it because I never like was a fan of the dolls or like watched the shows or movies and stuff. Like afterwards, like I enjoyed like going through the Barbie aisle and I was like, oh, they're so cute, but I wasn't a doll customizer then. And then I saw I've seen like a couple of the like clips on YouTube. But I don't know how I feel about it because I don't know. It's mixed feelings. I like feel like happy for people, but it also kind of like I know that the original creator of Monster High, from what I can tell, left on pretty bad terms.
Really? Okay, this I didn't know.
Like when they did the Reboot dolls, I think he left on not so fantastic terms. So I don't know if he's involved with this reboot or not. And again, I enjoy doll customizing, but I wouldn't say I'm a Monster High fan, if that makes sense.
No, but you've mentioned them a ton over the years, like in the dolls that you use most of the time. And there was, I think I saw a comment, and I could be told that I'm wrong about this. I thought somebody asked about doing reruns of some of the dolls and them teasing that might be the case. So that probably would be more of interest to you than anything else. Right.
And it's also to say, like, how long am I going to stay in the doll repaint hobby? Sure. Of like enjoying because I don't buy new dolls just to use for customs. I feel like, all right, I don't nowadays. I buy used rejects, like naked dolls, because it's just not practical or affordable to do that. But in that whole, like, how long will I stay with this hobby, that transitions a little bit into, like, something that I've been, like, obsessing over for the past 2 days. Bobby doesn't know anything about it yet.
Because I don't get told things.
Yes, of course. So, for those of you who have followed Fantasy Finder for a while, you know that my channel used to be, like, 75% digital art, 25% traditional art. And I haven't done digital art for a very long time consistently. In high school, that was, like, my obsession. And I have an old, God, I'm going to pronounce it, Wacom, like, bamboo fun tablet that I hook up to my computer, and you just draw on and stuff, and I haven't used it in a long time. And I have been, the past couple of days, seriously considering getting a graphics tablet that you draw on the screen. It's like an extra monitor.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of pros and cons.
Okay.
The one I'm looking at is called the XP Pen Innovator 16. It is a 15.6 inch screen. It plugs into my laptop or PC and is like an extra monitor. It has a lot of like key shortcuts and like this wheel that you can toggle around to like move the screen around. The reviews that I've seen for it are absolutely phenomenal. It's $500.
Yep, that's an investment. I mean, you're basically buying like a tablet, like an iPad. Yeah.
Right. So, here's some pros and cons. I think I have always really struggled with drawing digitally because it doesn't come naturally to me, because I'm drawing on one thing but looking at another monitor, for those who don't know. So sketching digitally has never come naturally to me. I always very much struggle doing that. And I think that has hindered my digital art development. So I think drawing on a screen, like the actual screen, as if it was a legit piece of paper, would really help that. And because I'm kind of like easing a little bit out of the doll customizing, I think this would be an amazing way to get back into digital art. But I don't know that for sure, and that's a $500 investment. Now, I had my little other tablet for like 8 years. And so I was talking to my one friend who actually has a Cintiq, which for people in the art community, that is like the best of the best kind of tablet. Like it's basically a computer. You don't have to plug it in. It's its own entity. And she was saying that it's an investment, but once I have it, I have it. And what I was telling her was, I think the reason also of me doing this is I just got a very large tax refund. And so Bobby and I talk about savings and stuff a lot.
I don't know.
Part of me thinks, okay, on one hand, I should put the money away in savings for some big expenses in the future that we have. Moving in together, a wedding, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot coming up, by the way.
We do have a lot coming up. But on the other hand, I have the money now, and I don't have that many expenses right now. So, I'm not... I now have this bundle of money that I could either save some, or like save half and spend half on me, or I could save a lot less and spend a lot on me. Like it's a weird. I feel like it's a big investment for I might not use it. as much as I think.
I don't know. I mean, am I welcome to share my
No, that's why I'm talking about this, because this is my way of asking you your opinion. I'm going to say off the bat, I think you're going to say to get it.
Of course I am, but I can at least sell you on the idea, I think. So here's what it's going to be for me. Yes, you're right. We do have a lot of things coming up, right, that we're going to have to save for, and I totally get that. But at the same time, right, like, you need hobbies more than anything else, and art is always going to be the thing I think that you're always going to be drawn to, no matter what kind, whether it's doll making, whether it's digital illustration, whether it's hand-drawn stuff, or whether it's, I don't know, doing like some of the sewing stuff that you've done before. Like it'll be anything. And I think if you're wanting to get back into digital illustration, I don't think it's a terrible idea to upgrade your gear. It's no different than me buying a computer.
Big upgrade though.
I'm not gonna say $500 isn't a lot of money, but it's
because in your industry, a good piece of tech is an investment,
and it's in the thousands most of the time. So
like
I'm
so $500 is piddly change to you.
$500 doesn't even get me in the door for a lot of different things that I need to get. So like in your case though, I think that in order to, if you want to actually work and develop and get your skills higher than they already are, I think having the right tools is important, right? I think you getting that tablet and being able to see what you're drawing basically right in front of you instead of what you've been doing with looking up and kind of like, you know, drawing over here or whatever it is, right? I think that's gonna right away, right off the bat, like once you get used to all of the weird nicks and knacks that the thing has, it'll be great. And I think what'll end up happening to you is you'll get really excited once you figure out that you can actually create some cool stuff off of it, and keep on going with it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff you started doing more, you know, more during the nights. And and I also wouldn't be shocked if you got the itch to make more videos on it too. Like I would not be shocked about that. And I mean, my whole pitch is simply that I think you need to invest in the right gear when you can. And I don't think that this purchase is gonna kill you in too many shapes and forms. Now, if we were talking thousands of dollars worth of something, that's a different conversation.
Right. Like I wouldn't be buying the Cintiq. Right, I would never.
Like if we were talking even like upwards of like, you know, $1,000, $1,500 for something like this is a different, I think, conversation. But we're talking about $500, which yes is a lot of money in some regard, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing in the world, and you know you're getting a really good piece of gear for it.
But something else is like when you spend money on gear, this is your profession. To me, this is just a hobby.
Right, so but it could be your profession all at the same time, and I also think it could. You've already had times where things that you've done and hobbies and stuff like that have led you to be able to integrate it into what you do for a living, which is being a librarian. Like think about how you had if I can expose real quick, you had to just give a whole seminar on Linktree, right?
Yeah.
So you had to do that. You knew that because you've made it for Fantasy Finder a ton of times. You keep it updated. You know how it works. You also know video editing through your videos. How many videos have you had to make for the kids that you're teaching as a librarian? So it's not like I'm not going to say it's a total investment of your work, but you've seen that your creativity and the other hobbies that you have outside of being a librarian have led to have been used in your profession too. So that's worth noting as well. So is it an investment in your work? Not quite, but it definitely could be in a way. You could kind of argue it is.
All right, so let's have the argument that, let's say I'm going to get it.
Okay.
Do I buy it now? Here's my two camps. Okay, buy it now, like in this week, or buy it at the end of May, June. Now here's my two camps. If I buy it now, I actually have a very big gift/commission that I think that is coming up that needs to be done. I'm giving myself the deadline of April. I think this would immensely help with that.
Sure.
If I can get past the learning curve.
Sure.
I think it would really help with this project. And I have the tax refund money now.
Yes.
Or use my tablet that I'm comfortable with, comfortable as much as I can be, that I've had for years, and do this commission by April, and then save up money like I would normally for something, and then my birthday is the end of May, and use whatever birthday money, or like, you've already asked what I want for my birthday, my parents have already asked, like, have them chip in and buy it later, and then I have had saved up for it.
Sure.
The big thing is, I think it would really help with this project, but I don't know that, and I also know the quality of work I've been able to produce with my old tablet. I can still produce an amazing. I can still produce a very good piece with my tablet. I just think this other thing would make it a lot easier. I don't know. Is
this so sorry? Sorry to cut you off, but so I think I know what project you're referring to.
Yeah.
By any chance, I forget though the details of it off the top of my head. Is this a paid commission for something like this?
It is. It would have been, but it's a gift instead.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
You know what it is.
I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. So I mean, because my question was going to be like, okay, if you were getting paid a decent amount for this commission, you could argue that it pays for that tablet, or it pays. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so that was giving an argument, and I mean, I again, and I know this is shocking to you. I don't see why you wouldn't get it earlier, because I really do think it's going to come pretty naturally to you. You already know how to use a tablet. Like, you've used it for years. You know what you're doing. The only difference is now where you're looking and just getting used to the different features that it has. But if you're just drawing, right, I think you're going to pick up very, very, very quickly. Once you spend a couple hours on it, like just, looking at it, then it's going to feel just like you're hand drawing. So I don't think you're going to have any issue once you get into it, because of how intuitive it is to you. You're basically taking something you've been doing for years and making it digital. And not like you already haven't, but this is
right.
You can see the damn screen on the tablet. So like, which is I think it's going to come naturally to you.
And I'm sure you and I will talk off podcast about this some more, because, and also, this is a really new thought. I didn't think about this because I'm very much I buy small things for myself. Like, I'll buy myself coffee, or I'll buy myself this art print, and I do that decently consistently. I never spend a chunk of money on myself.
Yeah.
So it's just that, like, I didn't think of, because, like, people, I think prompted by, I got the money, and I also, like, people have been asking me already from birthday ideas. I was like, well, what if I got this? But that was only 2 days ago, so I don't want to get something after 2 days of thinking about it. Something else too, I completely forgot the train of thought. Crap. Oh, some little petty thing. They were having a 25% off sale that I missed by 10 days. So, that's another thing. It was like a Valentine's Day sale. Do I want to wait here until the end of May for another sale?
You could, I guess. I think either way, it sounds like, though, you're at least thinking that you're probably going to get it. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you certainly would be fine with the tablet you have drawing this commission. It definitely would be easier if you had the new one. So it's just a matter of how important is that to you to have it for this specific commission, because I don't think you're going to be, unless you're starting to get back into stuff, that's going to be the only thing you're doing for a minute. So if you're buying it just for this thing, okay, maybe not quite worth it. But if you wait till after that's done and you're like, okay, I want to keep doing this, now I'll buy the tablet, then that would be okay.
Right.
Can you guarantee there's going to be a sale on May, June, though?
Yeah. I think we're at the point right now where I'm like, I just finished a doll and posted a video, which everyone should check out, by the way.
Absolutely. YouTube.com/fantasyfinder. We're on the road to 2K, baby. Let's get there. She needs to get there before the end before the beginning of June. Let's go. Let's go.
To 2K.
Subscribe. It's in the description. It's always been in the description. for you people who've been listening and not
okay,
hitting
stop. I had a train of thought. I'm desperately trying to cling to it.
Okay.
Shoot. Oh, like I just finished a doll. I'm at the point where I'm like, do I start this next doll or do I start this commission? Like I'm trying to plan my creative schedule. Because I've always said that I want it to happen by mid-March or mid-April at the very latest. But my work schedule might be changing soon. Like, I'm like, I need to get it done so that it's done. So that's also like, so do I need to get tools for it or not? Anyway, we've spent a lot of time on this, but that's. Let me know in the comments
Tell her
down
to
below.
buy the tablet because she hesitates on parts like this all the time.
Yeah, and maybe we'll put the tablet in the description.
Sure.
Not affiliated. To
not sponsored, not affiliated.
Yeah.
Not not forced at gunpoint. None of that.
Yeah. So you too could. Like,
I have a Wacom tablet as well. I just don't use it.
Well, that's another thing. If I got this nice one, I could give the one that I've had to my little brother, that he might enjoy using it.
Here, hold on. Let me actually sitting next to me. This is the one I have right now. Now I've been told, I've used it. It's nice. I'm not a digital artist by any means. Oh, it's actually kind of dirty, but it's this guy, this little guy.
Yeah, he's a baby.
So yeah, I actually don't know why it's so dirty. I haven't used it. I'll clean that later. But I mean, I've been told though, I've seen so many people. I've tried using it, like, because there are a lot of people who swear by it in terms of editing. But it's really weird, especially when you've been editing with a mouse for so long. You still use the keyboard. You basically just replace the mouse with the tablet, and people swear by it. I don't get it. I have yet to figure out exactly what makes it so good, but at the moment I'm happy. But I have it in case I want to mess with it, and I've messed around in Illustrator and stuff like that with it. But yeah, like I'm not gonna invest the thing you're talking about. So anyway.
So now what we're actually going to talk about.
Yeah.
Today.
This actually is a really good segue. If we're being,
I was just thinking, how am I going to segue this?
I don't think it's that terrible. Well, I mean, because we're talking about things that help your creative process, and that tablet certainly does so for a myriad of reasons, not just because it's a fancy schmancy shiny new piece of metal. So I do think it's a pretty natural segue we got going on here. So
our topic is like creative processes for various types of projects, and we are kind of going to do a concept to finished product type thing.
Yeah, and also applaud us. This is like the first time in a while we've done a creative podcast episode.
Creative episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you with your projects are a little bit more. Well, okay. So, do you want to talk about video editing? Do you want to talk about how we do podcasting? How do you want to
do it all? I mean, honestly, I mean, you can. I mean, you can talk about how you've done your dolls. Honestly, like I think your specifically that concept to finished product is a really interesting thing, especially with all the, because you're starting from complete scratch, so you have some interesting ways, and then mine is more digital based. What I'll probably talk about is kind of, because I had to develop a film from start to finish multiple times, so I'll probably talk about that a little bit. And then we could definitely talk about how this podcast kind of comes to be. I mean, that one might not be as in depth as some people would be hoping, but we could talk about that too. I've done numerous podcasts enough to be able to talk about that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely should talk about that if you're willing.
Sorry, I was just doing a work thing for 0.2 seconds.
No, it's okay. Everything good?
Yeah, I had to accept like a thing.
You're never off.
Well, I just talked a lot about my tablet to be. So if you want to go first, though.
Okay. I mean, it's your show. But,
it's not my show. It's Grumble's show.
Yeah, it's Grumble's show. That's the right answer. I wonder what Grumble's creative process is of just sitting there.
Well, since Grumble is our inner creativity gremlin, they're just bouncing off the walls, man. Yeah. So whatever we say our creative process is how our Grumble functions.
Yeah, Grumble is, if Grumble was a true combination between the two of us, it would be a really interesting mix of, I can do so many different things, but I'm anxious about doing all of it. Mm-hmm. That's literally what it would be. Mm-hmm. That's literally what it would be.
Okay. So I'm going to focus on, I guess, a doll's creative process.
Yeah. As I was going to say, you see how we plan this?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have very, in your art, at least for doll making, you have very clear stages of concept to finish, which is why I thought that was going to be interesting to share.
So, okay. I start with a concept and I either doodle that out.
And this is like a random idea a lot of the time?
It depends. Sometimes if I'm asked to do a collab or if I just have an idea, I'll doodle it. And then a lot of times I'll scrap together a Pinterest board of inspiration photos. I have a lot of secret boards, and I've taken to showing them in my videos, which I think is, no one's commented on them, but I think it's kind of fun and interesting to see.
I like it.
And then once I've gotten the Pinterest board together, I've either sketched out the design again, or I make a bullet list of things I want to include. So I'll do it for my most recent doll, Mal. I had a doodle that I did, and then I made her Pinterest board, and then I have fangs, gold dripping off teeth, ? And then I have like a sub point saying maybe gold tears, like definitely darker, more smudged makeup, like more ruffles than rags, which was her companion doll, corset ? I'll have that. And then I did a sketch. And then sometimes I don't even sketch the doll. I just have that kind of bullet list in written down or in my head. And then I either go shopping for materials or I see what I have already. I've gotten better about shopping for materials, meaning I will change my design based off of what materials I already had. I actually did that 100% for my summer plant witch. I had a completely different color palette in mind, but I told myself that I was not going to buy materials for this doll. So I completely changed this color palette around based on what I already had.
Right.
So I'll do that. And a lot of times, like, even if I am going to spend the money on fabrics, it depends on how much I care about the integrity of the doll design.
Right.
I will, like, everything you find in stores is not going to be exactly what you saw in your head.
Never, ever.
I at one point was actually contemplating, like, I've had the perfect fabric for him on the Joann's website, but it was going to be like an entire yard, and the price of shipping was going to be twice as much as the fabric price.
Right.
And I was at the point where I was like, I'm going to paint this pattern onto, like, a blank fabric. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Just change the stinking color palette based on what you already have. Like, stop it.
Right.
And then I actually have a, it's technically a bullet journal, but I don't use it as that. I use it as my list journal. And I make a list of those on video. We'll be able to see this.
That's why you should watch the video version on youtube.com.
Yeah. I have it broken down to every single component of the doll. So I have, like, remove the hair, reroot, tail, and in tail subsections, it's like modify, paint, add the tuft, accessorize. And I have all of that broken down, and I do that beforehand so I don't forget any details that I might want to include later on. So, like, oh, I had the brilliant idea that I wanted to add gold tears. I write that down in my bullet list because what if I forget that detail and then later on when the doll's done, I'm like, oh, crap. And then once I have one for the doll, and then I actually have for the video too. I have final photos, transfer the footage, organize, write the voiceover, record the voiceover. And like that might
Bug
be
Bobby about finally giving you the photos that he's been holding hostage for like a year.
That too.
Yeah.
And it might seem over to-do list. I will have so many little subsections. So I don't have like it's like make the video is one check mark, but that video check mark, it's like when you do a math problem, it's like, oh, there's only 4 problems, and then like each problem has A through F. So I have like that, but to me, I enjoy that. I'm also one of those that like, if I did something today, like, okay, yesterday, I had to run errands. Instead of saying run errands and check that off, I had the bank, get gas, postage, all of that, because I feel more accomplished. And I also, if I do something extra, it goes on the list after I did it, so I can cross it off.
You have, like I said, you literally have, I am the complete opposite of you. I wish I had that many to-do lists for a lot of things that I do.
Well, and that's why I got this bullet journal, because I had paper to-do lists everywhere. So this keeps them a little bit more centralized. I mean, as I say that, I'm looking at the various places to-do lists are on my desk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's protected. So I guess that's like my conceptual to finished product-ish.
Yeah, I mean, you seem to have, you have a system, a very organized system that you've probably had to develop over the years of you doing this. I guess, I mean, my immediate question is, has that system failed you at any point in time? Like, has there anything that's kind of hindered you from a certain aspect of a specific project ever?
I think too much. Like, I want to do too much and trying to figure out how to scale that back.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like, or I overwhelm myself because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much left to do on this. It's one of those, like, I want to be realistic to myself. I don't want to look at, like, my list for a doll and it has 3 things. And it's like, oh, that's easy. But I don't want to, like, not be prepared. Like, I want to know that doing the face up is hours of work because I have to prime the face and wait for that to dry. I have to remove the face. Sometimes I have to shrink the head. Like, sometimes I have to do this and that, and then gloss, and then add the lashes. Like, that face has so many steps. So I also don't want to feel defeated of, oh my God, I don't want to, I was supposed to work on the face today, and it's not crossed off my list. I want to have the subsections of the face to say, I did do something.
Right.
I did have those things. Like, yeah, I didn't finish the face, but I did, I did A through D out of A through G. Like, I did half of it. At least I have proof of that. I don't know. It's just, but I also get overwhelmed by that list of, oh God, there's so much to do still. I don't know.
I understand. I understand that. Especially because in here, I'm going to expose you again when you call me like after work or whatever, and you're like, I still got this to do. I gotta amend this thing, color that thing, paint this thing, draw this out, call this person, that person. Like it's very easy to see when you talk to me how overwhelming your own lists can get. Even though it's better for you to have that organized direction for all the things that you're doing instead of just kind of winging a lot of different things at the same time. So you know exactly what you want, how you want to do it, what you need to get, and deadlines, whatever it may be. Like, having all that, I think, written down definitely has got to be helpful to you and probably many others as well.
It helps me not to forget. Like right now I have little sticky notes on the top that are like project based.
Right.
And they all have their own little thing.
Right.
Somewhere else in the big book. But it helps me remember, like, as soon as I sat down, I wrote down some things that came up today because my day was very busy planning wise. I wrote down sticky notes for every single one of them. I turned off my birth control alarm so that it would not go off during this podcast, and immediately wrote myself a sticky note that said birth control !
About time that didn't make its way into the podcast after like half of our episodes have that in there.
Right. So I don't know. It's just, I find comfort in that. But I guess at the end of the day, if we're going to do bare bones, like 3-step project,
yeah,
I'm massively into finding reference pictures.
Yeah.
And inspo boards. So I guess it's inspo boards, to-do list, do it. Like, that's my...
Right.
If I had to break it down to 3 things, conceptualize, to-do list, do it. Which should be on a t-shirt.
That's going to be the first drop that
of merch
TGL has, I think. Oh, wow, I just worked the whole idea. So that'll be our first, like, limited time drop, and then we'll have to create, like, more evergreen essential, like, where it's just ones with Grumble, like we've planned about before. So
let me write it down on my other size sticky note for bigger things.
I want to try my hand.
I literally have 3 sizes of sticky notes right here. I have the baby ones, specifically for big projects. I have the big ones, and then I have the day to-do list.
You know, meanwhile, you can literally make to-do lists, all those, and organize them with colors and everything else on this.
Well, see, that's different. That's for, like, my tattoo ideas. That's for, like, tattoo concepts. That's for who's purchased my dolls. Those are for permanent lists.
Yeah, right.
Those are for lists that are going to be there for a couple years.
Screw all the apps that that developers have made to make stuff like that a little bit easier for you.
Honest to God, a couple months ago, I went through and downloaded a whole bunch of, like, to-do list type apps, and I hated all of them.
Shout out Todoist and Asana and Evernote.
See, I hated them all.
I use Asana.
All right, what did I say? Conceptualize, to-do list, do it.
Yeah. Something like that. We'll work on the slogan. What is it that Coulson says in all the Avengers movies before they, like, announce that what they're called, like the Shields, like the Strategic Homeland Initiative kind of thing, and he's like, that's a mouthful. We're working on it.
I don't remember.
I think he just keeps saying, yeah, we're working on it.
So how do you go about making a movie?
Okay, so this is
which is a much bigger project than a doll.
I mean, the problem is it's really hard to make a movie by yourself. It's got to be collaborative almost always. I decided to also have another director and producer with me so we'll use Kingdom of One, which was my senior thesis / capstone film when I graduated college, that I did alongside my very good friend and roommate, fellow producer, Will Johnston. So, we kind of just we didn't even start off with an idea. We just knew we wanted to make a movie together, while we had the opportunity to, even though we were both had our heads deep in other projects, for other people's, like, senior capstones and thesis films. So we decided we wanted to make something. So we literally, I remember the summer prior, we knew this. We were planning on doing it. We were gonna flush some stuff out. So we met a couple times over some drinks because he's like 45 minutes from me, so we were able to meet up over the summer. So we'd meet on I never gonna dox herself, but it's a public place. So Packer Avenue in Philadelphia is a nice Chicken Pete's there a couple times that we've been to. Got some drinks and talked about it. And there was one point where as we were kind of throwing ideas back and forth, he was telling a story that he read on, I don't know where he read it, but he read it somewhere else. I read it on Reddit, and I brought that up, and we realized we both read the exact same story, and we realized how much we liked the story, and we realized that we could probably make a film out of it. So, and the person who made the post on Reddit or told the story also mentioned in, like, comments that we're allowed to use it as, like, a royalty-free open source story, and we don't have to get their permission to make anything. But anyway, so we decided we're gonna go with that story. So now came time to the writing process of things, or at least the planning stages. So what we tried to do is we tried to plan like what the story was going to be in terms of like each stage, from everything from, okay, here's the introduction, to what's their problem, to how do they fix the problem, and then what happens after that, and finish it off, right? So we literally, like, first week we went back to school, we actually we had a big blank wall right inside of our door in our dorm apartment, and Vanna might remember this.
Absolutely.
We had index cards just all over the wall of different stages and ideas of things that we could do. So we would at a couple of nights, we went through for hours picking through and picking aspects we like to ultimately pick our greater story. So once we started nailing that down and kind of figuring out, okay, cool, now we know how the characters are going to be written and everything like that, let's actually write the damn thing. So we get to script writing, right? So script writing is its own art, and why I don't do it very often. So he's more of the writer, but I was there,
good at it, yeah.
And he is very good at it. So he actually like hooked his laptop to like our big TV that we had in the dorm, and we were both kind of writing together. Him typing on the keys, me being there to kind of help assist with the story and everything else. So we co-wrote it. You know, we went through, I don't know, 5 drafts at least of that script. So, you know, we would write it, we would show it to people we trusted, get their opinions, come back, do revisions as we saw fit. Some things we completely rejected that we got told. That's a thing that should be said too. Just because you get revisions from somebody doesn't mean you necessarily have to do them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there are ones that we got that were like, okay, that makes sense, so we'll put that in there. But there's other ones that are like, it doesn't quite fit what we're going for, so we'll leave that out.
Well, I remember you were more so like I wasn't reading the draft. You would just tell me of what people were saying, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I'm okay. I am stubborn beyond repair about a lot of things. Fana knows this,
no
unfortunately,
one wants to be told that what they did is bad.
I know, but I should listen. And I think
always.
I did, but I'm definitely very stubborn when it comes to my ideas. So yeah. So then once we kind of finalize the draft, like, okay, this is the one we could probably start fleshing out in terms of actually making the movie. This is where the collaboration finally starts to come in. So we needed someone to shoot the film, because it wasn't just going to be us. We had to sit there and direct, because the director's job is to, you know, direct the actors and what they do on screen, right? It's up to the director of photography, or DP, to actually shoot it and, you know, get our opinions on it and everything like that, right? So that we can kind of mesh together. So we picked our DP out. We talked to her. Her name is Miriam Salvarzi. Shout out, Miriam. Miss you. So picked her, and she and you mentioned Pinterest earlier. Pinterest is actually a very big filmmaker tool as well, because there's a lot of stuff you can gain inspiration from. So she immediately made a Pinterest board and shared it with us for ideas she had based on our script. You know, different stills from movies and color palettes, and even a couple like set dressing ideas, and such. So we shared these ideas back and forth, and then became the numerous meetings of figuring out what exactly we want it to look like. You know, going through basically all the inspo and going through all that, and picking like ones that we really think kind of fit the theme, like at its absolute core. And then in our case, we made, using those images, what's called a sizzle reel, which is essentially like you're basically making the movie with other assets to kind of showcase what it could look like. There's a very good, if you want to see kind of what I'm talking about, you could go look up Looper sizzle reel on YouTube, and you'll see.
You showed me this, yes.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the producers drew up like each frame with like the voice lines over it to showcase it, instead of like getting all the pictures. It's funny. I'll skip ahead a little bit because there's a lot of logistical stuff that I do not have enough time to talk about.
There is a lot going into
it is. I'm trying to condense it. It's hard. Meetings. You have to hire crew. That's the next part of the whole thing. So we had to get a set dresser, or a production designer. We had to get them on board. We had to get a couple other assistant camera people to help marry him out with, changing lenses, holding shots, moving, etc. We needed a sound mixer and a boom operator for all the sound. We needed grips and gaffers to set up all the lights and help us the set dressing as well, and then some PAs to production assistants to help with just anything that they needed to get their hands dirty with. And then we had other producers. We had a unit production manager to kind of make sure, okay, food was ordered for everybody while we were on set, putting out fires when needed. We needed an assistant director to keep us on time, which John, I'm so sorry. We never were on time. So
wait, talk about how you pick the cast, because I found that part very interesting. Yeah, so because I was kind of part of that. I don't know if I was meant to have an opinion, but I had an opinion.
You did have an opinion. Yeah, no. So we had to cast actors. We could have used our friends, but they're not great actors. But there's resources.
Oh, you used us for everything else.
Oh, I did, and you are wonderful.
Yeah, okay. I know I'm crap.
But when you want to make a movie good, you need the acting, right? People pick up at acting like it's nothing nowadays. The audience is never stupid. Casting, and especially in bigger film hubs, again, is its own business in of itself, right? You get casting directors. Go ahead.
I didn't get that poster this weekend.
I know. I realized that when you left. You will get it.
Anyway, continue. Bobby's been getting this poster for me for a year now.
Yeah, we had setbacks on a lot of the rewards for the people who helped fund our film, which did get funded. So that was a good thing too. We had to raise money, so we did it through Seed and Spark, if you're familiar with that, or if you're familiar with something like Indiegogo or GoFundMe, same exact thing, just for filmmaking, more or less.
All right, go back to casting.
Yeah, I am. I just wanted to mention that too. So casting was interesting. So we had resources available to us that we could go get actors, and we also could have went a route of being able to get our actors for free and stuff like that, but we wanted to pay our actors. We were able to do that, so we did that. So we posted on a site called Backstage, an opening, and say we mentioned it's a student film and this and the other thing, and we mentioned audition dates and stuff like that. And we also hired a woman, another classmate of mine, Alexis Harris, to help us out with getting all the casting stuff together. So she helped us run the Backstage page and respond to anybody who is interested, and then make sure we have all the appointments set up for when they're planning on coming in, and run through lines with them, etc. Right? So we chose a day, right? And then we got probably a dozen. We had 3 characters throughout the entire movie, 3 main characters, and we had probably a dozen people apply. So we had audition day. We had a few people come in. We had a camera set up to record the auditions. We read some lines. They read it back. We rehearsed the scene basically. So we did it with as many people who came in, and then we took the videos. We went back to our dorm. We watched them all. We kind of ran some thoughts through. I'm sure I asked you about what you thought, and then we asked a couple other people, trusted people, about who they thought were great fits for the roles that we had.
Well, are we allowed to be a little harsh here? I doubt that they'll ever listen to this.
Yeah, we could be harsh. It's fine.
The girl, there was basically 3 roles. There was a man, his wife, and a daughter.
Yeah.
The girl, there was really only one girl that was any good, but thankfully she was perfect. Like, you couldn't have gotten it better. She was perfect. Oh, she was also your only real choice.
And she was honestly a blast to work with too. Mm-hmm. That was the other thing about this whole thing. We'll get that in a second. Child actors are a whole ball game.
Well, man. And then you and the co-director. Did we say his name?
Yeah, Will. Yeah.
Will. Okay, I couldn't remember if we had said his name. You guys were between 2 people, and the guy that you ended up going with was the one who I thought was far superior. But
it was really only me who was vouching for the second guy.
Yeah, I was so happy that you guys chose this other guy.
So let me explain the situation, because it got really interesting for us, and to the point where I felt the need to go talk to a professor about this. So I'm gonna be. I have to be. Obviously, I'm gonna be careful how exactly I explain this, but I gotta explain this. So, the girl who was far and away the best, we found out.
The child actress.
So the child actress, far and away the best. We wanted her. And she is of Hispanic descent, right? So she's a Hispanic girl, everything like that. There was one point where the husband and wife might have been two white people. Mm-hmm. And that posed a little bit of a weird story issue where unless you establish that
I brought up why can't she be adopted, because I am my household, my family, there's an adopted child.
Right.
I'm like, why can't she be adopted? That's representation too.
Yes.
And you guys brought up, if it was a short story, there wasn't enough time to establish that she was adopted, or it didn't fit narratively.
Yeah.
And since you didn't have time to establish that, it would have stuck out.
Yes. And that's the thing. So, and that's where it became weird, because then it became like, okay, if it's going to be that weird and we have time to explain it, then we can't, if we like the two white husband and wife, then we might need to not cast the Hispanic girl, which felt weird, right?
Because she was so good too.
Right. But then it gets into something I didn't want to do. I don't want to make decisions based off race and race alone. That's never, ever what I want to be doing. So I went and talked to a professor, who she's very a big advocate for a lot of diversity in arts and stuff like that. We talked to her, and what she did tell me was that, you got to make the story make sense. Like, first and foremost, it's just that if you have a situation where you have somebody in a marginalized group who is far and away the best, or is in the same caliber as somebody who's, say, like a white man, that you want to pick the guy in the marginalized group as much as you possibly can, because you need to have that representation. However, if it goes against your story, you can't do it. Mm-hmm. And so she was very blunt with us about it, and very understanding and happy that we had that conversation. I'm not doing this to toot my own horn. I'm just showing you that this was a very unique problem that I never had before, and it was very dicey, and it felt weird to deal with it. So, and I guess I'm just kind of seeing, in case anybody else in that industry listens and hears that experience, it's interesting. It's really weird. But it just so happened that so we had two guys we were thinking for. The wife was also, there was only one that we ever wanted. So she was in, and she was a white woman. And then we had the husband. It was between a Native American gentleman and a white man. We ended up going with the Native American gentleman, and because of the color of his skin and the color of the skin of the Hispanic
their complexions were very similar.
Exactly. So we were able to keep the people we really wanted. Even though I had a little bit of hesitation of casting him, I got blown away very quickly once we actually started working with him. But
he was fantastic, yeah. And Will and I
he was
really
wonderful,
liked him.
wonderful. I did too, and it just I liked something about the demeanor of the other guy a lot better in terms of how he presented the role, a little bit more meeker when I originally had that idea in mind. But I am glad at the end of the day that we ended up choosing our other guy. So much better. Everything came out so well. He was open to so many different things, and he was a blast, dude. And he's the nicest guy.
So you have the cast, you have the crew, you have the story, you have the money. Should we skip to day of? Because obviously you're just like planning to get everything together.
We had to location scout and do that. But that's so logistical and dumb. And we did go through very quickly. We found a house that this guy was going to basically rent to us, and we're going to shoot there. So we get to shooting, right, and it's it's sending out what are called call sheets to everybody, like, hey, you got to be here at this time, letting everybody know who needs to be where and when. Getting that all set up, and then you better lock it in once you get there, because you're there for at least 12 hours, and it's shooting, going through as much as you can in that location. And
I didn't see you at all this semester.
So so we shot weekends, so we did Saturdays and Sundays, and it took us, was it 2 weekends, maybe an extra day, I think.
Something like that.
So it took us 2 weekends, and we had 3 locations roughly that we did. One was in a big house that we had. That was where most of it was able to be shot. And everybody was setting up, and lights were set up, and sound was set up, and everything like that. And it's a big collaborative and hectic process. And then you got to put out fires at times, So you can get off schedule very quickly, which is why I was saying earlier, I'm sorry to John, who was our assistant director, Mr. John Travers, another good friend of mine. He he was our assistant director and tried to keep us on schedule, but he kind of gave up on it at some point because we were getting just hit with so many different other issues that kind of put us back. So be prepared to be off schedule. You're never on schedule on a film shoot ever. So you shoot the movie, you do what you can. You know, as a director, I was just looking at the screen of the camera was hooked up to a monitor, so we were watching that, watching all the performances, watching how the shots looked, giving notes, running it again, trying some different stuff out. We had a couple shots coming on the fly, so we did that. You know, so we shoot it, and then we go, "Yep, that's a wrap! Yay!" Everybody clap, and everybody go home because it's probably 3 a.m. So we shoot it, and you know, I back up all the footage. I go and log everything. So basically, I go through, look at everything, and like, okay, this is this footage with this weird name, like MVI 0105 is scene 10 take 4 kind of thing. So I'll look at that, and it begins our editing process. Now, this was very much affected by God.
Also, people need to realize that because this was a student film, you were the writer, the director, the producer, and the editor.
We thought about getting an editor, and they probably would have.
But editing is your trade,
yeah,
so you wanted your capstone film to be editing.
Right, exactly. So, but I was already editing 2 other films, which Fana almost killed me for.
Yes, I was like, what the heck do you mean you're editing 3 student films in addition to creating your own?
Right. So,
yeah, no. When I said I didn't see you that semester...
And what I mean to be and to clarify, she graduated already, so it wasn't about her not coming upstairs from the dorm room. So
right, but I couldn't visit any weekends.
Right, so because we were busy. So we began editing, and the way we were going about it was that I was going to edit. I was going to be at the helm, have here at the keys, and then hook my computer up to a separate TV. Sorry, my other computer just jumped up. It popped up. I'm like, did you fall asleep while I was recording? So I was editing, and then I had it hooked up to another monitor so that Will could be in and watch and give a grade, because we're both the directors, so we're both going to make these decisions. So, and this is the same thing if we had another editor. It would be the editor at the buttons, giving creative decisions, and us as a director giving feedback on it. So we did it. We started that, and then COVID hit. So we had to transfer to remote, which I had to figure out a way to edit here in New Jersey and have Will be able to see it when he's about 45 minutes away in Pennsylvania. So that was an adventure. I'm not going to get into the logistics of that because it's not really important, but yep, you edit. And then once we would again, just like we did in the writing process, because editing is its own form of writing. We gave it to trusted peoples and waited feedback. And once we got the feedback, we sent it, we applied things as we deemed necessary, whether it was like big things that we missed or things that we just absolutely disagree with and just completely outcasted, which happened a couple of times. And then after that, it went to distribution, which in our case, it's not available to the public at the moment, but we'll be doing a festival run at some point, but it was featured in our school's like final big film festival that we did. So we did that, and then that's basically how you make a movie or any type of film or TV show. This is basically how it goes. I know I gave a very big blanket, but I know I spoke for a while, but I gave a very big blanket and didn't talk about a lot of logistics. There's so many minuscule things that you have to think about that I can't even mention in this. Like that would be a whole podcast episode by itself. So
what would your 3-step process be?
It literally goes from, okay,
think it, plan it, make it.
I'm gonna steal it. It's literally, and comes from, I was actually just about to recommend before you just said that. If you want to hear more about the logistical details of filmmaking, I highly recommend the YouTube channel Film Riot. If you have no idea, no experience with it before. You love
that channel.
Yeah, they talk about, they're great for people who are just getting involved into movie making, because they provide a lot of different DIY ways to do things, as well as talk about a lot of the logistics stuff that I kind of skipped over because I don't have time to talk about it. But I was also going to say their slogan is write, shoot, edit, repeat. Write, shoot, and edit is basically the 3 stages of filmmaking. You got pre-production, production, and post-production. So write, shoot, edit. That's your 3. So, and that changes depending on what type of thing you're making. I mean, this was a movie, a narrative. When you're making something like a documentary or a YouTube video, or I made a couple music videos, completely different workflow. A lot of things stay the same, but a lot of things are also very different. A lot of logistics are changing. So that's how you make a movie, and it's tiring, especially when you have to collaborate with like 20 other people. It gets very tiring, and it gets there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen sometimes, and it's led to some interesting scenarios for me. But that's how you make a movie. That's how you make a movie. That was the. I was tired at the end of that semester. I'm sure you could.
Oh, you were dead. I had to resurrect you.
Yeah,
you had one foot in the grave, and I was like, no.
So there you go. And the movie is called Kingdom of One, in case I didn't say so.
Woohoo!
IMDb page linked below.
We could add your IMDb to the link tree.
We could, couldn't we? It's not even on my website yet. I don't think.
So what are you doing? You call yourself a professional.
I'm only as professional as everyone thinks I am, and then they meet me and they're like, "Wow, this guy sucks."
So
there you go.
Conceptualize, to-do list, do it.
Write, shoot, edit.
Hoorah, rah.
Hoorah, rah, rah. That's how we do it. That's how we torture ourselves every day.
This is how we do it.
Come on.
We cry our way to the finish line. At least that's what I do.
Filmmaking.
Let's talk about my more realistic. I whine about it. I cry about it, and eventually it gets done. There's my more realistic.
That's how I get people to respond to me with emails in regards to my projects. Like I just start being annoying about it until they finally respond. And I just mind you about it.
Full on Karen emails.
You've perfected this art too.
Pull up the receipts.
Yep.
I'm like, on this day I contacted you and I asked you for this information. And like I feel bad doing it, but at the point like me trying to get my grad school stuff together, I like from the university I graduated from, they did not want to talk to me apparently. And I was like, no, you have all of my money. You're gonna give me this one document. And you're gonna respond to me.
Yeah, you're gonna respond to me.
And after I sent my follow-up Karen email, I got a phone call like half hour later. Imagine that.
I wish I could do that on some of the email issues I'm currently dealing with, but
fun stuff. But
spent 2 months with this.
Let us know. Well, one, let me know if I need this tablet drawing screen thingy. Two, let us know your creative process.
What kind of artist are you? I want to know what other big mediums our audience is involved in. Is it filmmaking? Is it doll making? Is it digital illustration? Is it clay? Is it sculpting?
What kind of artist are you?
Is it what?
A writer.
And then what things do you find similarities in our processes, or are you just kind of like, I have no idea what you're saying, and this is a whole other animal? Well,
because I just thought about like writing. My writing creative process is completely different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's all the time we have for today. Now I'm just kind of conceptualizing like the whole like Grumble, like your creative. We need a to-do list that has Grumble on it. We need stationery.
I'm down with this. Actually,
okay.
I'm down with this. I'm down with this idea.
So, thanks you guys for listening. Please to make sure to give us a like, subscribe, rate us 5 stars on your various podcasting platforms, and talk to us. We like it when people. The last time someone commented on one of our videos, they're like, "All you're doing is roasting one another." And we're like,
yeah, that's the epitome of our relationship.
I was like, is this an insult or is this just an observation? Because like it's true.
We're not easily offended with each other, so that's just kind of how this goes. So,
but thank you guys for joining us in the Gremlin's lair. I stumbled over that. Okay. Thanks for joining us in the lair. And we'll see you guys later. And thank you for 10 wonderful episodes.
Woo! On 10 more, 100 more.
I don't know about 100 more.
I know about 100 more.
All right. Bye, guys.